Caminando, caminando. Salam alaikum. How you doing, guys? Good day, good day. Peace and blessings be to all you guys. Today's a nice, pretty hot out here. 73 degrees this morning. It's only 10 o'clock. Beautiful day, but I was looking at the news yesterday and I was speaking about some type of thunderstorms. I don't know exactly where. It just came up in the bottom of the TV as a warning, an alert. So maybe that's why it's hot. Anyway, I came in today to speak a little bit about Lucero Nkuyo. Not Lucero Mundo, Nkuyo. Lucero Nkuyo. Usually when you get initiated into Nkisi Malongo or Palo, I'm not gonna say all, because it was kind of before, it was almost like something that you would get in your initiations from some Palo Ramas and some Enzos, but also in a lot of Palo Ramas, they don't give you an Nkuyo as an Ngeyo. Some do. The reason why I say some do, because I was one that was given a Lucero Nkuyo as an Ngeyo. Is it correct? Is it not correct? I'm not here to debate that. So we could continue. Majority of the times, some will give you, like I said before in previous videos, some beads, a necklace, a makuto of some sort, whether it's a makuto, is a matari, whether it's a pouch of some form or something with some bilongo in there, whatever. They'll give you some, and someone also, they don't give you none of that. You just get initiated as an Ngeyo, and 21 days, usually, maybe for some before or the same day, but for us in 21 days, you'll get a name. And maybe the firma of your camino. Some do, some don't. But anyway, Lucero Nkuyo, right? First of all, Lucero Nkuyo, that word, where does it come from? Is there any Bantu or Kikongo word or meaning of that? Those are two words, Lucero and Kuyo. A lot of us say Nkuyo, but it's Kuyo, Nkuyo, and Lucero, or Lucero Nkuyo. Lucero means light, star, bright star. Some say morning star. But really, Lucero means brightness, light, star. And then Nkuyo is mostly like a possessive word, like who, of, what, in that sense. So we have that. But when we come to look at where these root words come from, we don't find it in Kikongo nowhere. And it's fine. We understand that Palo's Afro-Cuban tradition with Congo influence, the root Congo people, Bantu. So it's predominantly more Spanish, really, where them words come from. Now, when you look at Lucero Nkuyo, a lot of people look at them like if they were in a legua from Ocha. And they say Lucero is the owner of the crossroads. Some say Lucero is like a trickster, the same way they would say for El Egua. Lucero is the conversator. Meaning, Lucero Nkuyo is the one that you conversate with. Give me 1 second, guys. You know, like always, making a go. When you have a Lucero Nkuyo, the primary function of your Lucero Nkuyo is for communication. It's a conversator. It's an Nkisi, because it is an Nkisi. It is there is an enfumbe there. You know what I mean? A muerto. It's not an Nganga, meaning you cannot, do scratch anybody. Arriba Lucero Nkuyo, no. But Lucero is the conversator, is the mouthpiece that speaks through for the muerto. That muerto over there and that Nkuyo is the one speaking to you when you are casting whatever you cast or whatever tools you use. So Lucero becomes the mouthpiece to communicate with you. And he's the one between the living and the spiritual. He's in between the living and the spiritual, so he could communicate with you things from the living, looking at also the spiritual side of the things, of life and so forth. So you'll hear Lucero opens up your paths, or can open up paths. Lucero could close the paths, the crossroads, or close your path or anybody else's. He has that ability. And we say masculine because the majority of people have a Lucero with a spirit that in some time was a male, but not all. Some have female spirits also in their Luceros. We still call it a Lucero Nkuyo. You understand? Almost giving it that masculine sound, but we're not saying it's masculine or feminine. It's like a possessive we. You understand? The most important role of a Lucero is a conversator. With Lucero Nkuyo, you really do it all. You don't have to have an Nganga to have a Lucero Nkuyo. Actually, most places will give you a Lucero Nkuyo when you become a Tata. That's one of the first things that you will receive as a Lucero Nkuyo. And with that Lucero Nkuyo, is there to protect you, to guide you, to speak to you, to warn you. It's there to open up your roads, close the doors for you also. Because if Lucero Nkuyo, right, that spirit, that Enfumba in there knows that by it opening this door for you in the physical and spiritual is going to cause you harm, well, he's not going to open it for you. He's going to shut it for no harm to come to you. It all depends on the communication you have with it, because sometimes you open doors, and if you don't know what you're opening, you could get yourself into some hot waters, because you have to start learning how to divine and speak to that Nkuyo and understand what it's telling you. And you understand what, it, and he understands you, or she understands you also. So one of the primary things is to have is the Lucero Nkuyo. Remember, there is Lucero Nganga, and there is a couple of caminos. Some have a lot of caminos for Lucero. Some have 1, 2. Some have 3, 4, and more. Some just have 1. So we're not going to get into the debate of how many caminos does Lucero Nganga has. That's to each its own, to their Hama, and how they understand it and they practice it. But as far as Lucero Nkuyo, some people just have one Nkuyo. And they could have more than one Nganga. And that one Nkuyo speaks for the other Ngangas, whoever you're dealing with. With your Lucero Nkuyo, it's so important having a Lucero Nkuyo. Oh, and let me say something. And some have multiple Lucero Nkuyos that speak for multiple Nkisis there are in the Ngangas. I want to make that clear, as I know that also. But a great majority has one that speaks. When you speak to that Lucero, you could speak to Sarabanda. You could speak to Sarabanda and Mama Chola without the Lucero. But the problem is, you're given a position to that Lucero to be the one who opens and closes the doors, one who confirms and makes sure that things go right and goes as it's supposed to go and stop what it's supposed to stop. So you're giving that Lucero Nkuyo a position in that Munanso. So when you're dealing with a certain muerto, a certain Nkisi, an Nganga, and you are speaking to Lucero, you're speaking to your Nganga. But Lucero is making sure that everything that's supposed to be going on and happening goes through a certain sequence and a certain process the way that it should. And you have it there as a defense line, you know? He's kind of like the enforcer of these things, how they're supposed to work and go, you know? Lucero Nkuyo is a very important, I'm going to say, Nkisi to have, because it's still an Nkisi. And it doesn't matter if the Nganga has the same muerto that your Lucero has. It's just that you give that muerto a position. That Lucero has a position with that same muerto. What else can I tell you guys? If you're a tata, right, or a yaya, and you're going to help someone else, right, in a munanso, or you're going to build something for somebody, but you're going somewhere, right, else that's not your own munanso. Some will take the empaka. Some will take the empaka en fumbe. Some will take the empaka menso or vititi menso. You know, I myself, if I was going to go to that, I would take my Lucero Nkuyo. Why? Because it's not big. It's my conversator. I need to have something that's going to be looking out for me and that I could rely on, and I have full confidence because I know it's real and I know it's there. And that could help me out when I go to help out someone else or build something for someone else in another place that's not in my munanso. I'm not going to rely on whatever I'm building or whatever spirituality is there. I'm going to rely on what my Nkuyo tells me. So that's why a Lucero Nkuyo is a very important instrument, a very important Nkisi to have as a practitioner in this tradition. Yes, some do things other ways, and they find and have their own maña and their own ways to do things. But a Lucero Nkuyo, if you have it, primarily it's your main conversator. It's the one that you speak and it speaks to you. And that's who you trust, right? Who I trust. Me and my Lucero. That's who I trust. So just coming in a little bit, guys, giving you a little bit on Lucero Nkuyo. Not too much to bore you, just a little insight. Lucero is more than just what I spoke, but just for you to have something of what Lucero is and why some synchronize it with Elegua or Legbara, or Echu Elegua, even though we're speaking about different things. That's why some people synchronize them with them, because they get these, they have they perform a certain duty in Palo and in Santo Ocha, you understand, and in Ifa, but there are different caminos, just like some Hamas have different caminos. There's some things that our Luceros do that Elegua is not the same. You understand? And we don't look at Elegua as the way we look at Lucero, because Elegua is Elegua, Lucero is Lucero. We have a actual muerto, a spirit in our Lucero. We don't have Elegua like an Orisha. You understand? Just trying to make it clear. Salam alaikum, malaikum salam, lokutare. My email address is tatazongo21@yahoo.com. If you want to get in contact with me, you get in contact with me for anything. It's free. If you need to talk or any information, whatever I can help you with, free of charge. All you gotta do is email me. Give me a little bit of why you emailing me for, and I'll send you a phone number so you could either call me or text me. Be safe. Have a great day.